Hello and good evening. So, look at the first question. With reference to India's national symbols, consider the following statements. The first statement says Article 51AA of the Constitution of India obligates citizens to respect the Constitution, the national flag, and the national anthem. Absolutely correct. That's the part of the fundamental duties. The second statement says the Constitution of India explicitly recognizes Vande Mataram as national song. This statement is not correct, right? No such provisions exist in the Constitution. The third statement says on 24th of January 1950, Dr. Rajendra Prasad clarified that while Jan Gan Man would be the national anthem, Vande Mataram would be the national song. So that is also correct. Which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So correct answer would be only 1 and 3. So C for Calcutta would be the correct answer. Now let's move on to the explanation part. Recently, the parliament debated Vande Mataram, right? And Vande Mataram was first sung in 1896 by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, where in the Kolkata session of the Indian National Congress. So do remember these important points. So now let's move on to the next question. So look at the second question. With reference to INS Vakshir, consider the following statements. The first statement says, INS Vakshir is the sixth and the final submarine of the first batch of Kalvari class submarines inducted under Project 75. Absolutely correct. Second statement says it was commissioned into the Indian Navy in January 2025 and is based on the French Scorpion technology. Again correct. Third statement says INS Vakshir is equipped with nuclear tipped ballistic missiles and forms part of India's nuclear triad. No, that's not correct. It is a conventional submarine, not a nuclear powered or a nuclear capable submarine, right? So the third statement is incorrect here. Which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So correct answer would be 1 and 2. Means B for Bombay would be the correct answer. Look at the explanation part why we picked up this question. So there's a reason. Recently, the President of India undertook a sortie in INS Vakshir and experienced an underwater dive. और यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि द्रौपदी मुर्मू जो है ऑनरेबल प्रेसिडेंट, उन्होंने यहाँ पे विजिटर्स बुक में आईएनएस वाकशीर के लिए यहाँ पे कुछ remarks दिए हैं, right? So I hope you guys understood that Kalvari class submarines are conventional diesel electric attack submarines and not the nuclear armed ballistic missile submarines. So now let's move on to the next question. With reference to the constitutional position of water in India, consider the following statements. The first statement says water, including water supply, irrigation, canals, drainage, and embankments, is primarily subject under the state list of the 7th schedule. Absolutely correct. The second statement says the union government has power over the interstate rivers and the river valleys under entry 56 of the union list. This is equally correct. Why? Because Article 262, it deals with the interstate river water dispute. And Parliament has the authority, means the union has the power to come up with the interstate water dispute tribunals. Right? तो जैसे प्रेजेंट में फॉर एग्जांपल लाइक कृष्णा रिवर ट्राइब्यूनल इज देयर, महानदी रिवर ट्राइब्यूनल इज देयर, महादाई रिवर ट्राइब्यूनल इज देयर, रावी एंड ब्यास रिवर ट्राइब्यूनल इज देयर. So ये tribunals अभी present में operational है. So do remember these are the examples, right? So which of these statements given above is oblique correct? So correct answer would be both 1 and 2. And always remember that हम rivers को दो parts में divide कर सकते हैं. The first one is the intra-state river. Intra-state means the river which is flowing within the state. सो ऐसी रिवर्स पे कंप्लीट अथॉरिटी स्टेट्स की है, तो ये स्टेट लिस्ट में आएगा. लेकिन अगर कोई रिवर है जो इंटर स्टेट रिवर है, जैसे नर्मदा, गोदावरी, तो इंटर स्टेट रिवर्स में यूनियन गवर्नमेंट के पास में पावर्स हैं, राइट? तो इंटर स्टेट रिवर्स मींस अ रिवर विच इज फ्लोइंग इन मोर देन एटलीस्ट मोर देन 2 स्टेट्स, राइट? सो डू रिमेंबर. तो चलिए चलते हैं एक्सप्लेनेशन पार्ट में. व्हाई वी पिक्ड अप दिस क्वेश्चन, देयर इज अ स्ट्रांग रीजन. रिसेंटली एन आर्टिकल वाज पब्लिश्ड इन द हिंदू regarding the Jal Jeevan mission. So it says that the Jal Jeevan mission not properly planned to be a holistic project. और आपने नोटिस किया होगा कि अभी इस समय जब आज हम ये रिकॉर्डिंग कर रहे हैं तो ठीक इसके एक दिन पहले इंदौर में एक मेजर इंसिडेंट हुआ है मध्य प्रदेश में, वेयर सेवरल पीपल डाइड आफ्टर कंज्यूमिंग कंटामिनेटेड वाटर, राइट? एंड उसके बाद जो रिएक्शन आया वहां के मिनिस्टर का वो बहुत ही ज्यादा कंट्रोवर्शियल था. सो इसलिए इस टॉपिक को हमने पिक किया. Now let's move on to the next question. It is also related with this topic, Jal Jeevan Mission. So question number 4 is, with reference to the Jal Jeevan Mission, consider the following statements. The first statement says, Jal Jeevan Mission was launched in August 2019 with the objective of providing functional household tap connections to all the rural households. Absolutely correct. The second statement says the mission mandates provision of 55 liters per capita per day of the safe drinking water. Again correct. Third statement says village water and sanitation committees are responsible for decentralized planning, operation, maintenance of the water supply systems under this mission. Again, correct. The last statement says the Jal Jeevan mission focuses exclusively on the infrastructure creation and does not emphasize community participation. See, third and fourth statement just opposite है. अगर fourth correct होगा तो third नहीं हो सकता. यहाँ पे third statement correct है, fourth statement is absolutely incorrect here. ये community participation पे based एक project है. So do remember. The question is which of these statements given above is oblique are correct. So correct answer would be 1, 2 and 3. Means B for Bombay will be the correct answer here. Now let's move on to the explanation part. आप यहाँ देख सकते हैं that it is a community participation mission, right? So community participation is a defining feature of this mission. Now let's move on to the next question. So question number 5. With reference to the Oreshnik missile recently news, consider the following statements. The first statement says Oreshnik missile is a Russian-made nuclear-capable intermediate range ballistic missile mounted on a mobile launcher. Absolutely correct. The second statement is it is a hypersonic missile equipped with multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles. Again correct. Which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So both these statements are correct here, right? Now let's move on to the explanation part. Why we picked up this question. So recently, Russia deployed nuclear-capable Oreshnik missile system where in Belarus. Examiner may ask you about the location of Belarus. So look at the location of Belarus. So Belarus is a landlocked country, right? So it is a landlocked country in the Eastern European region, and Belarus forms its border with Ukraine, with Poland, with the Lithuania, Latvia, and Russia, right? So you can see here it shares its longest border with Russia and its shortest with Latvia, with European Union members Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia forming its western and the northwestern boundaries. Now let's move on to the next question. In India, separation of judiciary from the executive is enjoined by. It's a previous year question of UPSC 2020. So correct answer here is DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, which is also known as the Instrument of Instructions, right? Which aims to establish India as a welfare state, right? Which one? As a welfare state or Ram Rajya ya fir as an ideal or a utopian state. Clear? So it is the part of Article 50. Article 50 deals with the separation of judiciary from the executive. Why? In order to keep the concept of separation of power intact. So the correct answer here is B for Bombay. Now let's move on to the explanation part. You can see here Article 50 of the Constitution, which falls under the DPSP, directs the state to take a step to separate the judiciary from the executive in the public services of the state. This provision aims to ensure judicial independence and separation of power, but it is not justiciable. So DPSP is not enforceable in the court of law, right? Now let's move on to the next question. Along with the budget, the finance minister also places other documents before the parliament, which includes the macroeconomic framework statement. The aforesaid document is presented because this is mandated by, again, a previous year question 2020. So the correct answer is D for Delhi. It is presented under the legal framework of Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act of 2003, right? And under this act, the finance minister along with the budget should produce three documents. The first one is the macroeconomic framework statement. The second one is the fiscal policy strategy statement. And the next one is the medium term fiscal policy statement. तो याद रखिएगा ये तीन documents एक साथ यहाँ पे produce किए जाते हैं along with the budget. Now do remember Article 112. It deals with the annual financial statement. Article 110, it deals with the concept of money bill, right? So do remember all these provisions. Now let's move on to the explanation part here. So you can see here that along with the budget, three more documents are presented by the finance minister before the parliament: the medium-term fiscal policy statement, fiscal policy strategy statement, and the macroeconomic framework statement, right? And now let's move on to the next question. With reference to the Pralay missile, consider the following statements. The first statement is Pralay is a a solid propellant, quasi-ballistic surface-to-surface missile with a range of up to 500 kilometers. Absolutely correct. The second statement is Pralay is designed to carry nuclear warheads as part of India's strategic nuclear deterrence. This statement is absolutely incorrect. See, Pralay is basically a conventional missile. It is not the part of India's nuclear program, right? So question is which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So correct answer would be only one. Now let's move on to the explanation part. You can see here why we picked up this question. So recently DRDO conducted the salvo launch of Pralay missile off the coast of Odisha, where in the Wheeler Island, right? So the test was conducted off the coast of Odisha. You can see here that Pralay is conventionally armed and it is intended for tactical battlefield roles such as striking the radar installations, command centers, and airstrips. It is not the part of India's nuclear missile arsenal, right? So now let's move on to the next question. With reference to the bomb cyclones, consider the following statements. The first statement is it is an extratropical mid-latitude storm that undergoes rapid intensification due to a sharp fall in surface air pressure within 24 hours. Absolutely correct. Recently, the Northern American region witnessed a bomb cyclone. That's why we framed this question. So second statement says bomb cyclones mainly form during the summer season. No, that's not correct. They are mainly formed during the winter season and not the summer season, right? So second statement is incorrect here. Question is which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So correct answer would be A for Ahmedabad, one and one only, right? So look at the explanation part why we picked up this question. So bomb cyclone hits the northern America. What is the storm? So you can see here the four most vulnerable regions of the world from the bomb cyclone. The first one is the Northwest Pacific, then the North Atlantic, then Southwest Pacific and the South Atlantic. Clear? And the precipitation associated with the bomb cyclone is intense, ranging from heavy downpours to strong thunderstorms to blizzards and heavy snowfalls along with the strong winds. So I hope you guys understood this. Now let's move on to the next question. So question number 10, with reference to the definition of public servant under the POXO Act, consider the following statements. The first statement says the POXO Act independently defines the term public servant. No, that's not correct. The POXO Act is silent on this term public servant. So the statement 1 is incorrect here. The second statement says the courts have relied on section 21 of the IPC to interpret the term public servant under the POXO Act. Absolutely correct. Now the IPC is replaced by the BNS, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So correct answer would be A for Ahmedabad. Why we picked up this question, दोस्तों? There's a strong reason to pick up this question. See what happened recently. आपने देखा होगा कि दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट ने कुलदीप सिंह सेंगर को बेल ग्रांट की, उनका जो सेंटेंस है उसको सस्पेंड किया लाइफ टर्म को, और जब बेल प्रोवाइड की तो उसके बाद पूरे कंट्री में अक्रॉस द रीजन मेजर यहाँ पे प्रोटेस्ट हुए. डिजिटल मीडिया, सोशल मीडिया में भी आपने लोगों का रिएक्शन देखा होगा. तो बेसिकली व्हाट हैपन कि दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट ने इस मेजर लूपहोल को इसको आर्गुमेंट मानते हुए यहाँ पे उनके सेंटेंस को सस्पेंड किया था कि पॉक्सो एक्ट में पब्लिक सर्वेंट का कोई डेफिनेशन नहीं है. नाउ यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस कि पॉक्सो एक्ट में जो पब्लिक सर्वेंट्स हैं उनसे एंटिसिपेट किया जाता है, उनसे एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं कि क्योंकि वो पब्लिक सर्वेंट्स हैं और उनके पास में पब्लिक ट्रस्ट को होल्ड करने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, बिकॉज इट इज सेड दैट ग्रेट पावर कम्स विद द ग्रेट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. तो जो लोग पब्लिक पोस्ट पोजीशन में हैं, जो पब्लिक अथॉरिटी में हैं, उनसे यहाँ पे आप ग्रेटर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी और ग्रेटर एथिकल स्टैंडर्ड्स यहाँ पे आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं. तो अगर ऐसे पर्संस इन अथॉरिटी से अगर इस तरह का कोई क्राइम होता है तो ऐसे पर्संस इन अथॉरिटीज के लिए यहाँ पॉक्सो एक्ट के अंदर जो है वो इंटेंस और इनहेंस्ड पनिशमेंट का प्रोविजन है. अंडरस्टूड? तो यहाँ पे कुलदीप सिंह सेंगर जो हैं उनके लॉयर ने यहाँ पे क्या प्रूव करने की कोशिश की कि वो एक पब्लिक सर्वेंट नहीं है, और क्योंकि वो एक पब्लिक सर्वेंट नहीं है इसलिए उनको बेल दे दी जाए. आई होप यू गाइज अंडरस्टूड दिस. क्लियर? सो दिस वाज क्वाइट कंट्रोवर्शियल. नाउ लुक एट दिस वन. मैं चाहूंगा कि आप इसका और जो ग्रेटर डिग्री में यहाँ पे एक्सप्लेनेशन आप उसको भी एक बार देखें. सो इन अलाउइंग Sengar's suspension of sentence application, the High Court focused primarily on his conviction under Section 5C of the POCSO Act, which criminalizes aggravated penetrative sexual assault by a public servant on a child and attracts punishment under Section 6. So, under the criminal law framework, offenses committed by persons in positions of trust or authority, such as police, armed forces personnel, public servants, and staff of institutions, including hospitals, jails, educational establishments, they are treated as aggravated and subjected to enhanced punishment, reflecting legislative recognition of abuse of power and heightened victim vulnerability. So I hope you guys understood कि पॉक्सो एक्ट में पब्लिक सर्वेंट का कोई डेफिनेशन अवेलेबल नहीं है. इसी लूप होल का फायदा उठाते हुए हाई कोर्ट से उनको बेल मिली थी. सो उम्मीद करता हूं कि यू अंडरस्टूड दिस. यू ऑल्सो अंडरस्टूड द रीजन व्हाई वी पिक्ड अप दिस क्वेश्चन. Now let's move on to the next question. So this is the last question of today's session. Question number 11. Which of the following countries border Peru? So Ecuador, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile and Paraguay. अर्जेंटीना के साथ कोई बॉर्डर नहीं है पेरू का, पराग्वे के साथ में नहीं है, इक्वेडोर के साथ में है, बोलिविया के साथ है और चिली के साथ में है. सो करेक्ट आंसर वुड बी 1, 3 and 4. मींस A for अहमदाबाद वुड बी द करेक्ट आंसर हियर, राइट? सो लुक एट द एक्सप्लेनेशन पार्ट. यू कैन सी हियर ये पेरू है आपके सामने. पेरू इज इन द सदर्न अमेरिकन कॉन्टिनेंट. अब आप पेरू की बॉर्डर देख सकते हैं विद बोलिविया, विद ब्राजील, विद कोलंबिया, विद इक्वेडोर और यहाँ पे साउथ में Chile is also there, right? So you can see here that Peru shares its land border with 5 Southern American countries: Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Bolivia, Chile, with its western side facing the Pacific Ocean. Its longest land border is with ब्राजील. तो पेरू की जो लॉन्गेस्ट लैंड बॉर्डर है वो किसके साथ है? दैट इज विद ब्राजील, राइट? और रीजन क्या है इसको पिक करने का? सो पेरू वुड डिक्लेयर अ स्टेट ऑफ इमरजेंसी along its border with Chile as migrant seeks to cross into country following an order of the president of Chile. तो प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ चिली ने एक ऑर्डर दिया है कि जो अनडॉक्यूमेंटेड माइग्रेंट्स हैं उनको बाहर कर दिया जाएगा. तो अब क्योंकि उनके अगेंस्ट में एक्शन होगा तो चिली की बॉर्डर किसके साथ में है? पेरू के साथ में है. एंड देयर इज अ हाई प्रोबेबिलिटी कि चिली से जो इमिग्रेंट्स हैं वो बेसिकली कहाँ एंटर करेंगे? वो पेरू में एंटर करेंगे. इसलिए यहाँ पे एक बॉर्डर इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर करने का यहाँ पे बात चल रहा था, इसलिए हमने इसको पिक किया. सो आई होप यू गाइज अंडरस्टूड दिस. ये था हमारा लास्ट क्वेश्चन इस सेशन का दोस्तों. आई होप यू गाइज आर एंजॉयिंग दीज सेशंस. अगर आपकी कोई भी रिकमेंडेशन है या कोई भी आपका वैलिड रिव्यू है तो प्लीज जरूर दीजिएगा. मिलेंगे हम अपने नेक्स्ट सेशन में. बाय बाय, टेक केयर, जय हिंद.